The series started with the hero, a skilled doctor, visiting the noblewoman in prison. She was famous, possessing influence and connections, and was imprisoned for the alleged murder of her husband's mistress. The hero offered to help her escape from prison and asked her to apply for a stay of execution, claiming she had leukemia, telling her he would help fake the illness and teaching her the necessary symptoms. Later, she submitted the request to the prosecutor to suspend the sentence, but he did not believe her. However, before he rejected it, she lost consciousness due to the harsh regimen the hero asked her to follow, and she was rushed to the hospital. He was forced to approve her request, and she was released. We learn the hero asked the noblewoman, in exchange for his help, to use her connections to nominate him as the prison's deputy medical director. After her release, she saw on the news that the spoiled youngest son of the hospital group owner was arrested for using drugs. He was sentenced to 3 years, so she realized the hero wanted to go to that specific prison to meet the spoiled son, though she could not figure out why. We flash back 6 years to see a pregnant nurse with her husband happy with their daughter's ultrasound. The hero, an emergency doctor at the hospital, called them to assure them insurance would cover the delivery costs. We learned the hero was helping them and would pay the expenses himself. In the ER, he saw the heroine, the new psychiatrist, and helped with her case, so she thanked him. Later, the chief doctor summoned him, asking him to sign a medical report for a member of parliament in prison. The hero refused because the report was forged, claiming the man had cancer to obtain, a stay of execution, and leave prison. However, the chief doctor promised the hero that if he signed the report, he would perform the surgery his mother needed to save her life, so he was forced to sign. We saw the spoiled son driving recklessly, upset because the hospital board of directors agreed his older brother would manage the group after their father fell into a coma. He told his sister, a lawyer, that he suspected his brother was involved in their father's coma. At that moment, he nearly hit the pregnant nurse and her husband's car, scaring the husband, who honked to warn him. The spoiled son got angry, stepped out of his car, and smashed their vehicle. The nurse begged her husband not to fight, and he agreed, but glared at him. This enraged the youngest son, who chased them. Meanwhile, the chairman learned from his secretary that his younger brother and sister were on their way to the airport. He ordered his thug to ram his brother's car and kill him in a staged accident. Indeed, the thug arrived while the younger brother was chasing the pregnant nurse's husband. The thug struck the nurse's car instead. In the ER, the hero was shocked to see the nurse's injured husband and tried to help, but the man died. He then tried to save the bleeding wife, rushing into surgery. At the same time, the spoiled son arrived, demanding the hero leave the surgery to treat his sister's minor injury. The hero refused. The spoiled son got angry and told the chief doctor to force the hero out, but the hero refused. The younger brother lost his temper, demanding the chief doctor force the hero to leave the operating room. The hero snapped at him, so the spoiled son threatened to destroy his future and imprison him. Later, we saw the hero devastated because the nurse and her unborn child died in surgery. At that time, the spoiled son reported to the police that the hero caused the deaths through negligence. The police arrested the hero. Returning to the present, the hero met the director in charge of the medical section in prison for his interview. He realized the director did not want to give him the position because he had promised his assistant the deputy role. The director was surprised when he did not see his assistant at the interview, so he was forced to appoint the hero under probation. Later, the prison bus carrying the spoiled son crashed and the youngest son escaped from the bus, but he was shocked to see the hero standing before him. In prison, the prosecutor met a prisoner requesting release on grounds of mental illness. We learned the prisoner was the son of the minister, accused of torturing and raping his colleague. We saw the heroine, who was responsible for treating inmates, write that the minister's son was lying and not mentally ill. Consequently, the prosecutor rejected his request. The prisoner attacked the doctor to kill her, but she easily defeated him. At the same time, we learned that the dominator, the spoiled son's mother, was the one who planned the bus accident to smuggle her son out of prison. But the spoiled son was surprised to see the hero, who realized he had a broken rib in his chest and was gasping, so he gave him an intravenous injection so his lung would not fill with blood and cause him to suffocate and die. He asked one of the prisoners, who was the leader, to help him transport the spoiled son to the hospital. The director arrived at the accident scene and was annoyed when he learned the hero took the spoiled son and disappeared. Then, he realized the spoiled son was the reason for the hero's imprisonment, so he guessed the hero kidnapped him for revenge. But at that time, the hero called him and said he had to take the spoiled son to another hospital to perform urgent surgery and save his life. The director got angry and asked him not to perform the surgery. The hero agreed. The spoiled son was happy and told him he could not hurt him. The hero laughed and told him he was the only one who could save him. Then he left him and exited the operating room. At the accident scene, the dominator arrived and asked the director about her son, so he took her to the hospital. At that time, during the operation, her son's condition deteriorated, so so the doctor asked the hero to help him. He agreed. The Dominator arrived with the director and the police, and they arrested the leader and returned him to prison. The Dominator went crazy when she saw the hero performing the surgery on her son and ordered him to stay away. However, the chairman arrived and told her he was the one who gave the hero approval for the surgery as the older brother. We learned the Dominator was the chairman's father's wife, and the spoiled son was her son, and her daughter was also the lawyer. The surgery succeeded. The chairman understood from the hero that he wanted to become the deputy prison director to take revenge on the spoiled son. The chairman liked this and realized the hero was the one who would keep his brother away from the company. He ordered the director to approve the hero for the position, so he was forced to listen to them and agree. At that time, the Dominator learned from her daughter that her son was the one who caused the hero's imprisonment, so she suspected he conspired with the chairman to get rid of her son. 2 weeks later, the hero returned with the spoiled son to prison. We saw the prisoners welcoming the hero, so we learned that when he was imprisoned there, he used to treat prisoners at night because no doctors were present, and he became famous as the Doctor of the Night. At the same time, the director went to meet the chairman and asked him to give him the position of head of VIPs at the hospital. He said he used to transfer to the hospital all the VIPs who entered the prison and executed all his orders for the sake of this position. However, the chairman did not care about his words and said he had already chosen the right person for the position. Naturally, the director was upset. Later, the director learned the hero went to the prison and assumed his position. He went crazy and went to him, telling him he was still on probation, and if he crossed the line, he would fire him. Then, the hero spoke with the heroine, who told him the director was not easy and he had to deal with him cautiously. But the hero told her with pure arrogance that he would be the new king in the game. She told him his arrogance would bring him down. He laughed and told her he would wait for her at the dinner he was holding for the doctors to celebrate his new position. On the same night, the director was shocked. When the hero sent him records from the prison proving prisoners were treated in the hospital, he partnered in with his family. At that time, the hero called him and invited him to dinner. He understood the hero wanted him to attend the dinner so the hero could officially assume his position. He was forced to agree out of fear he would expose him. Then, he was surprised by his assistant entering in a miserable state, telling him the hero was the one who kidnapped him to take the position in his place. He told the assistant that the leader and his men conspired with the hero and were the ones who lured and kidnapped him. The director called the hero and told him he would interrogate the leader about the kidnapping, and that if he found out he participated with them in the operation, he would keep him in prison as a prisoner, not a deputy director. The hero worried and called the noblewoman, who confirmed the assistant escaped from her men. At the same time, the heroine went to search the prison archives. We learned her brother was imprisoned and disappeared from prison in mysterious circumstances, and she was looking for him. The director went to the leader's cell, held the leader's assistant, gave the leader an insulin injection, and recorded him. He told him he had to confess his relationship with the hero. If he did not confess, he would leave him to die because the excess insulin would destroy his liver. The leader got scared and confessed that the noblewoman was the one who asked him to execute the hero's orders. The director rejoiced, took the confession, and left. At that time, the hero arrived, performed first aid on the leader, and transferred him to the hospital. Later, the hero went to the director, who told him he had evidence that could imprison him. The hero showed him that the leader managed to photograph a list of all the investors in the hospital, and told him he would also be imprisoned when he submitted this list to the police. And it became known he was stealing prisoners' insurance for the benefit of his family's hospital, where he was a partner. Then the heroine went and told the hero not to be any different from the director because, like him, he exploited prisoners and their illnesses for his own benefit. He told her that if she helped him, he would help her find her brother. She was surprised and asked if the director was the reason behind her brother's disappearance. He told her the director was a pawn in the hands of someone more powerful, and that was the person he wanted to reach and take revenge on. He was the same person behind her brother's imprisonment and disappearance. The next day, they met, and the director agreed to hand over the special section prisoners in exchange for the hero giving him the original copy of the hospital investors list. At that time, the Dominator called and asked the director to meet her in her office. He went to her, and she promised to give him the position of head of VIPs, but in return, he had to be on her side. He was happy and gave her proof that he was with her, handing surveillance recordings proving the hero was meeting the leader in prison, and he also gave her the leader's confession. Later, the chairman saw the director leaving her office, so he knew he was betraying him and conspiring with the Dominator against him. At that moment, the minister called the director and told him the hero requested his son's return to prison, just as he was about to get a stay of execution for his sentence. The director went crazy at his words. At the same time, in prison, the spoiled son objected to the cell he was in, so the hero put him in a worse cell containing a gang of criminals who beat him up. Later, the director returned to the prison and met the hero, who surprised him by knowing about his meeting with the Dominator. He told him he was not afraid of him because he had no evidence against him. The director called the lawyer and asked her to send him a copy of the video where the hero met with the leader, but she shocked him by saying he gave her nothing, and she hung up. At that time, the hero laughed and told him he had to know he was the only king of the prison and that he could not defeat him. On the same day, the hero met the heroine and asked her to join his team, promising to help her find her brother. However, she refused, telling him she did not want revenge and all she wanted was to find her brother. She told him his revenge would turn him into a person worse than the one he wanted to take revenge on. The hero remembered how they betrayed him at the hospital, did not perform the surgery on his mother, and left her to die. At that time, he changed and decided to take revenge on everyone who hurt him. The hero returned from his memories and sent the heroine the name of the prisoner who was with her brother in the same cell. Then, he was surprised by someone entering and telling him he would not be able to take revenge on those who hurt him because they were much more powerful than him, and the director himself was a pawn in their hands. But the hero did not fear his threat and told him no one could hurt him after his mother died, and that he had changed since then and was no longer the kind person they knew. He asked him to inform those who sent him that he was the one who would destroy them. At that time, the lawyer heard them through the listening devices she planted in the hero's apartment and informed her mother of what she heard. The Dominator decided to help the hero achieve his revenge in exchange for him helping her son, the spoiled son, get out of prison. The director discovered from the hospital surveillance cameras that the leader did not give the hero the full list of investors. He guessed the leader hid it, so he returned to the prison and searched for it. But he discovered the leader sent the list in a parcel to the hero. At that time, the hero visited the leader and asked him about the list's location. He told him he hid it in the prison and asked when he would help him get out of prison. The hero promised he would help him after destroying the director. The next day, the parcel arrived for the hero, and he found a letter from the leader saying he hid the list in a safe place until he guaranteed his release from prison. At that time, the director arrived and found the parcel in the hero's hand, so he knew he arrived late. He threatened the director with the list. He asked him to hand over the administration of the special section in prison and for the director to manage the free section in exchange for the hero, not sending the list to the police. The director did not believe the hero had the list and challenged him to show it to him. The hero showed it to him, and the director was shocked and forced to agree to his demands. The next day, we learned that the list the hero had was fake, and the noblewoman was the one who sent it to help him. At the same time, the director was working in the free section when one of the prisoners met him and told him he would help him in exchange for getting him out of prison. He told him the leader did not send anything to the hero and gave him the address where the leader sent the list. The hero met the Dominator, and we learned from her that the leader sent the list to his daughter, who was sick with cancer. The Dominator promised she would help him in exchange for him helping her son. But at that moment, they learned the girl got sick and was transferred to the ICU. The hero learned that the last video call she received was from the director, who asked her to hand over the list, telling her she had to give it to his assistant so she would not be harmed. She was forced to agree. Later, the director learned from his assistant that the hero was imprisoned because of the fake medical report he signed, and that the director himself was the one who wrote that report. He realized the hero wanted to take revenge on him, not the spoiled son, so he planned to get rid of him. At that time, the hero received a call from the prison informing him the leader was sick, so he went to him. We saw the heroine visiting her brother's cellmate, who told her the hero was the one who gave her brother an injection, after which her brother got sick and went to the hospital, and he had disappeared since then. She suspected the hero was involved in her brother's disappearance. At that moment, the noblewoman called the hero and warned him to return to prison so he would not be killed. But the hero was already inside the prison and was surprised by a masked gang attacking him. He ran from them and succeeded in reaching the leader's cell, but he was shocked when the leader's men grabbed him. The leader told him he agreed with the director to cut off the hero's hand in exchange for the leader getting out of prison so he could see his daughter and say goodbye to her one last time before she died. The hero offered to get him out of prison if he tore his chest muscle, as the ambulance would then take him to the hospital and he would be able to say goodbye to his daughter. The leader agreed, but on the condition that the hero inflict the injury on him because he was a professional doctor. At that time, the director was recording everything that was happening through surveillance cameras. He got angry when he saw the leader accepting the hero's offer. The prisoners sprayed fire extinguishers on the cameras, blocking them from monitoring them. The hero stabbed the leader and managed to get him out of prison, but the leader's condition was bad and they took him to surgery. At that time, the hero was surprised by the heroine, who asked him what medicine he gave her brother. He told her he gave him the medicine that would save his life and asked her to trust him. She agreed to join him and help him. Later, the hero checked on the leader, but at that time, the director arrived and took revenge on the leader for his betrayal, telling him he would return to prison the next day without seeing his daughter. The leader went crazy and collapsed. The next day, the minister's son returned to prison and another prisoner bothered him, so the minister's son got angry at him and cut an artery in his neck. The hero saw him and knew he would benefit from him, so he went to him, spoke with him, and offered to help him get out of prison in exchange for his father, the minister, helping him with what he wanted. He told the hero he would get out, claiming he had a mental illness that made him hurt himself and others. The hero seized the opportunity and beat him, and broke him to take revenge for all the girls he tortured before killing them, telling him he was doing this for his own good. But the minister's son could not take it and fainted. At that time, the heroine arrived, gave him a sedative injection, managed to pull him away from the hero, and thanked the hero for beating the minister's son, telling him one of his victims was her friend who became her patient because of his torture. At that time, the director learned what happened to the minister's son, went crazy, apologized to him, and promised him that he would fire the hero. However, he was shocked when he found the minister's son asking that the hero be the one responsible for his case. The director was forced to agree so the minister would not be upset with him. The hero agreed on the condition that the director allow the leader to say goodbye to his daughter before she died. Naturally, he was forced to execute his words and let the leader meet his daughter. At night, we saw the chairman being treated by the heroine. At the same time, the hero met the minister's son, who asked him what symptoms should appear on him. He told him about them. Later, the hero went with the director and met the minister, asking him to use his connections to help him reach the director position. The minister agreed, and the director was jealous. Weeks later, the director asked the hero to sign the report on the minister's son's condition. The director messaged the prosecutor, telling him the one responsible for the minister's son's condition was the same doctor who forged the MP's report 6 years ago. The prosecutor suspected the minister's son was faking illness to get out of prison. We learned the hero asked the minister's son to destroy his liver and take many drugs to show symptoms of mental illness. 3 weeks later, he took him to the hospital for the heroine to evaluate his condition. The director was optimistic because she hated Nand, the minister's son who harmed her friend, so he became sure the prosecutor would arrest the hero and get rid of him. In the hospital, the heroine got angry and told the hero she would not agree to the minister's son's release from prison. However, the hero challenged her and told her he was sure he would get out. At that moment, the prosecutor visited the noblewoman to check on her medical condition. He found her health was good, so he asked her if the hero was the one who designed her prison exit plan. She claimed she did not know the hero at all. Later, she called the hero and warned him that the prosecutor uncovered his plan, but the hero did not care. All analyses and tests were done for the son of the minister. At that time, our heroine was surprised by the state of collapse that hit him in a short time. To confirm to the medical examination that the condition of the minister's son was not faked, the hero requested a CT scan of his brain. At that time, the director discovered that the hero gave the minister's son a treatment that would make him convulse during the scan, thus making him appear mentally ill. He went to the hospital. At that time, the prosecutor received a call informing him of the minister's son's condition, but he did not believe it. He went to him. The director asked his assistant to inform the heroine's friend that the minister was present at the same hospital and that he would be released from prison. The heroine discovered the hero's deception, confronted him, and asked him why he was helping an evil killer like the minister's son. He told her he was ready to help demons to take revenge on those who caused his mother's imprisonment and death. She told him that if he took revenge, he would turn into a demon like the demons he hated. He told her the end justified the means. Then, the hero remembered the visit of his mother for the last time in prison, saying she came to say goodbye and asking him to promise her not to change or think of revenge for any reason because he would be the first person hurt. He promised her that he would not change. The hero returned from his memories, visited his mother's grave, and apologized to her that he could not keep his promise to her because he had to complete his revenge. At that time, the heroine's friend arrived, devastated after learning the news about the minister's son. The heroine consoled her and promised she would not allow him to get out of prison. The next day, the hero was shocked by a call from the minister informing him that the heroine requested to re-examine his son. The hero arrived at the hospital late, so it appeared that the minister's son was not mentally ill and would return to prison. The minister's son went crazy and stabbed her in her neck. The hero was devastated, took her to the ER, and felt guilty that he was the cause of what happened to her. At that time, the minister's son collapsed and vomited blood, and his condition worsened. The heroine entered surgery, so so they could save her. At that time, the hero remembered when he entered prison and saw a sick prisoner who had bleeding, and he managed to treat him. Later, he learned the prisoner was the brother of the pharmacist who thanked him for saving her brother's life. His cellmate was the heroine's brother, who was the secretary of the chairman's father. At that time, the hero saw the director trying to get rid of the secretary by giving him lethal medicine, but he managed to save him. He was shocked when he learned the name of the person chasing the secretary. The hero returned from his memories and went to check on the heroine, who was angry at him for deceiving her and helping the minister's son. He told her that they could not be on the same team because she did not trust him. He left and was surprised by the minister blaming him for what happened to his son, but the Dominator defended him and told the minister the cause of what happened to his son was the prosecutor and the director. The hero thanked her for helping him. She asked him to transfer her son to the special section, and he agreed. Before he left, he asked her to take care of the heroine. She reassured him, saying the heroine was important to her and she would take care of her. The heroine heard this and was surprised by her words. The director met the chairman and warned him that the hero conspired with the Dominator against him and transferred his spoiled brother to the special section. He told him he informed the prosecutor about the hero and all the cases that were released from prison through him. At that time, the hero met with the noblewoman, the leader, and the pharmacist to devise a plan to eliminate the director. The pharmacist told them the director was stealing subsidized medicines dispensed to prisoners and sending them to the hospital he partnered in with his family. At that moment, the prosecutor arrived with the police to arrest the hero and his team, but he found only the hero and the noblewoman, so he arrested them. The director sent prison guards to arrest the leader and return him to prison. The chairman learned the director's plan succeeded, so he granted him the position of director of the VIP section. The director rejoiced and celebrated with his wife. The chairman asked his assistant to find the heroine's brother quickly. The next day at the prosecutor's office, the prosecutor was shocked when the heroine arrived and testified, stating the minister's son was mentally ill, as the hero said. The prosecutor was forced to release him. We learned she testified for him because she discovered he took revenge on the minister's son, destroyed him, and made him fall into a coma because his liver was destroyed. Later, the hero moved with a team and monitored the medicines stolen from the prison and learned they went to the hospital pharmacy. The Dominator helped them, and she informed the Attorney General about the pharmacy. When they arrested the person in charge, he implicated the director. The police went to the director and arrested him. At that moment, the hero arrived and told the director he would destroy him soon, but he did not care about his threat. Later, the heroine asked the hero to let her return to his team, promising she would not doubt him again. The director was interrogated, denying the charge of stealing medicines. The leader helped our hero, and they opened the director's safe and copied all the videos of the prisoners in the special section onto the director's flash drive. He gave it to our heroine and asked for her opinion on their psychological conditions. The next day, the director was released from the prosecution office and officially managed the prison. He discovered that the hero had opened his safe, so he went and asked for the help of the intelligence director imprisoned in the special section in exchange for helping him see his son. He told the intelligence director that 2 prisoners died in prison and that the one supervising their condition was the hero. At that time, the chairman met our hero and asked him about his relationship with the Dominator. He told him she was helping him get out of investigations in exchange for moving her son to a better cell. The chairman believed him and rewarded him. Later, the heroine gave him the prisoner's files and her opinion on their psychological conditions, so he thanked her and gave her a flash drive containing all the video call recordings her brother had while in prison. The next day, the director went to the prison where the 2 men the intelligence director told him about died. He confirmed that our hero was working in that prison and was helping convicts get out of prison. Then he called his assistant to ask about the minister's son's condition and learned from him that his liver was damaged, and if he did not get a liver transplant quickly, he would die. The director asked him to send him the death certificates of the prisoners the hero was treating in that prison. He learned the 2 prisoners died of liver damage and leukemia. He called the chairman and asked to meet him. Our hero went to the special section and met the intelligence director and gave him an injection that caused angina, then took him to the hospital. In the ambulance, he reassured him that he did this to help him see his son. At that time, the director met the chairman and told him what he found regarding our hero. The chairman asked him to prove that the hero was the one who caused the prisoners' deaths, and then they could get rid of him. Later, our heroine watched her videos with her brother and discovered that the chairman spoke with her brother from her office on the day she was busy, so she realized the chairman was the one chasing her brother. At that moment, the chairman entered her office and asked what she was listening to. She told him she was listening to a patient's session. She started playing the session to distract him. The hero worried about her and went to her, telling the chairman he wanted to speak with him. The chairman asked him about the reason for his visit to the MP in prison. He told him he wanted to know the reason he was imprisoned because the director threatened that he would imprison him like he imprisoned the MP. Later, the chairman asked his assistant to find out what our heroine was watching, saying he suspected her and the hero. On the same day, our heroine was surprised by a power outage and the disappearance of her laptop. When she checked the surveillance recordings, she found no trace of the person who took the laptop. The director went to the prosecutor and gave him the death certificates, informing him the hero was the cause of their deaths. The prosecutor told him the only people entitled to report the hero were the families of those who died. We saw the one who took the laptop was the chairman, but he did not find any videos on it concerning the heroine's brother. At that time, he saw the heroine's medical analysis and learned she inherited a brain atrophy disease from her father. The next day, our heroine informed the hero of the theft of her laptop. She reassured him and told him she wiped all the videos on it and the flash drive was with her. The prosecutor visited the noblewoman and told her that the hero was using her for practice and she could have died. She got upset and called the hero, who went to them. He told the prosecutor the prisoner died due to wrong treatment he received at the hospital. At that time, the director went with his assistant to the family of the prisoner, who died, to convince them to file a report against the hero. However, he was shocked to learn the prisoner died in the hospital and that the hospital took his family and gave them part of the life insurance. The director went crazy and went to the hospital, confirming the two prisoners died due to hospital negligence and that they took the insurance from them. Later, our hero took the intelligence director from the hospital and returned him to prison. He thanked him for helping him see his son and asked what he wanted. He told him he wanted to destroy the director and take over the hospital. That's again like his family was involved in. At that time, the prosecutor learned the hospital was known for stealing prisoners' insurance, so he opened an investigation into the hospital. The investors gathered at the hospital, beat the director, and ordered him to stop the hero from destroying them. Later, orders came to the prosecutor to stay away from the hospital case, but the chairman asked him to continue the investigations and destroy the director. The prosecutor called the hero and offered to join forces, so the hero agreed, and sent him a list of names of all patients treated in the hospital whose insurance was stolen. The next day, the prosecutor took the team. The prison medical team raided the hospital, opened all records, and arrested all the hospital investors along with the director. Later, the hero visited the director and offered to get him out of his predicament, but on the condition that he give up his share in the hospital. The director was shocked by his request. We learned that the chairman's father suffered from cerebral atrophy, which was a genetic disease, so he decided to transfer all his shares to the spoiled son. When the chairman learned what his father wanted to do, he gave him an injection that put him in a coma. At that time, he discovered the secretary was present and saw everything. However, the secretary managed to escape from him, carrying a flash drive with all the shares that the father gave him. The chairman asked him to deliver it to his friend, the member of parliament. So the secretary came out and stole a police car to get arrested, thus escaping the chairman by going to prison. At that time, the chairman threatened him that if he spoke, he would kill him. We returned to the director, who was forced to agree to give up the hospital to the hero, but he was shocked later when he discovered he was deceiving him and taking his shares without helping him. At that time, the director called the chairman and told him he was ready to execute all his requests in exchange for getting him out of prison. He asked him to kill the MP while he was receiving a dialysis session in prison. The next day, the hero met the noblewoman and offered her to invest her money with him in the hospital. She liked the idea and realized our hero's dreams and ambitions had become much bigger than before. The heroine called him and informed him that her brother called her and she would meet him in the city park. She saw that the dominator and the chairman also knew about the call and the meeting time and followed her. At that time, her brother saw the chairman's men and the dominator, so he got scared and ran away from them. At this moment, our hero appeared, saved him, and hid him from them. The heroine was sad but surprised by the dominator's pursuit of her brother, so she asked her why she was spying on her and chasing her brother. She told her that her brother was a secretary for her husband, and that one day he escaped and took all the company's stock papers with him, and this caused a crisis for the company. She told her that within 2 months, they would hold a board meeting to decide who would manage the company, and the one who would have the right to manage the company was the one with the stock papers. She told her that her brother had to appear one way or another, alive or dead. The heroine worried about her brother. The next day, the director was transported with the MP in the prison bus. The MP felt pain and asked for his injection. The director offered to give it to him, so he agreed. He started, but the director challenged him and told him he would leave the MP to die. However, the hero did not care and told him that if the MP died, the chairman would get rid of the director because he was the last witness to his crimes. The director got scared, gave the hero the treatment, and the MP was transferred. At that time, the director told him the MP told him the reason for the chairman's fear of him and why he wanted to kill him. He told our hero he was ready to make a new agreement with him. On the same night, we learned the hero was hiding the secretary in his sister's apartment. The chairman saw on the surveillance cameras the hero helping the secretary escape. He found out the last place the hero was and went to him. Later, the hero met the heroine and checked on her brother. At that moment, his sister called him. The prison guard helped the director and took him to the MP to learn the chairman's secrets from him. However, the director was shocked when he discovered that the MP died. We saw that the one who killed the MP was the prison doctor. We learned that the thug whom the chairman ordered to kill his spoiled brother was the one who caused the death of the pregnant nurse and her husband. When he was arrested, he threatened the chairman's assistant and asked him to get him out of the case, or else he would reveal all their scandals. We flashed back 6 years and saw a sit-in held by the families of the 7 workers who worked at the company, which was a chemical company owned by the chairman. They were holding the sit-in because the company had a chemical leak and sick that caused the death of 7 workers. We saw the thug crashing his car into the workers' families and killing them. At that time, the sit-in dispersed, and we learned that all this happened on the chairman's orders. We returned to the present time. Our hero's sister called him and told him the chairman and his men were present in the compound where she was. She told him she was worried they would find her and the secretary. Then the pharmacist called him and informed him the MP's heart had stopped. He asked her to perform CPR and transfer him to the nearest hospital. Our hero was confused and did not know what to do. The heroine reassured him and told him she would handle the chairman. She went to the compound. The chairman was surprised to see her, but she told him that. Someone called and informed her that her brother was there. She asked the chairman and his men to help her search for him. At that time, the Dominator arrived, as the hero had informed her of the place where the secretary was located. The chairman was annoyed when he saw her and left the place, and the Dominator did not know location of the secretary, so she left too. The hero tried to resuscitate the MP, but he failed, and he died. At that time, we learned the sole heir to the MP was the chairman because he was his only friend's son. Thus, he would inherit from him the company shares the secretary hid with him. At that time, the company would become the property of the chairman. The hero met the heroine and her brother and told her the chairman was the reason his father fell into a coma because he saw with the secretary a new distribution of company shares. He learned his father wanted the MP to help the spoiled son in managing the shares and that he ordered the secretary to give all shares to the MP. That was why he was chasing the secretary to know the location of the shares. We also learned the chairman was the one who caused the MP's imprisonment to keep him away from the company. At this time, the prosecutor investigated the director who refused to confess anything before speaking to the chairman. Then the medical report arrived and the prosecutor learned the MP died before the director reached him. So he realized there was another killer besides the director. The next day, the chairman announced in the media his grief over the MP's death. He said he had no children and that he was his spiritual son receiving condolences. We learned that all information about the workers who died and their families was on a flash drive with the MP and that he told the director its location to give him the treatment when they were together on the prison bus. At this time, the director sent a message to the hero asking to meet him. At the funeral, the chairman went crazy when the MP's belongings arrived and he did not find the shares among them. At this time, the hero arrived and revealed a paper to the chairman, telling him he knew he ordered the MP's killing. The chairman got angry at him and gave him a deadline to bring him the shares, or his fate would be the same as the MP's. Later, the hero took the heroine and her brother and hid with the noblewoman. We learned the MP sent the shares to the secretary to hide them. At night, we saw the thug leaving prison after finishing his sentence. We saw the noblewoman and the heroine watching him while he was dining with the chairman's assistant, who gave him money and a plane ticket to emigrate and leave the country. The heroine informed the hero of what they learned. He called the prosecutor and told him the thug killed all the people on orders from the chairman and asked him to act and prevent the thug's travel. Then he called the Dominator and informed her the thug would travel, asking her to use her connections to find out the time of the flight he would travel on. Our hero arrived at the airport and gave a sedative injection to the thug. He prevented the chairman's assistant from taking him. The prosecutor arrived, arrested the thug, and asked our hero to keep him under observation for 2 days to ensure he was not a drug addict. The hero took him. The chairman got angry when he learned of the failure of his plan. We learned he gave orders to his assistant to kill the thug with a drug overdose. In prison, the hero tried to force the thug to confess against the chairman, but he refused. However, the hero provoked him with words, telling him he was just a servant to the chairman. The thug got agitated and told everything. The pharmacist recorded his confession. Then he took the thug to the prosecutor and gave him all the evidence he had against the chairman and asked him to arrest him. We learned the director reached the flash drive of documents that was with the MP and learned the chairman was was the one who framed the MP for causing the chemical leak and the death of the workers. The director decided to be on our hero's team because both had the same goal, which was to destroy the chairman. The prosecutor met the chairman and told him about the evidence the hero presented. The chairman bribed him, telling him he would make him the legal official for the group of companies for multiples of his government salary. So the prosecutor delayed the investigation into the report the hero submitted. The next day, the chairman went and took our heroine as a hostage, called the hero and asked him for the bag of shares he had and the thug's confession he recorded against him. The hero asked him to give him the video showing the secretary escaping from him on the day he committed his crime and injected his father. The chairman agreed to his request. At that time, the hero asked the dominator to transfer her and her children's share of the stocks to the secretary's name, so the chairman would not control the company alone. At that time, the heroine asked the chairman about the trauma that occurred in his life and affected him. He took her to his mother's house and told her the reason for his hatred toward his father. We learned his father abandoned his mother because she was sick. Later, he met the dominator and married her. Since then, he cared only for her and his children with her. He told her he returned from school one day and was surprised to see his mother had killed herself. He got scared and called his father, but he did not answer because he was busy with his young daughter. Afterward, the chairman felt relieved when he spoke about his memories, thanked our heroine, left her, and walked away. The next day, the hero met the chairman and gave him all the shares and the confession. The chairman gave him the video he requested. At that time, the hero told him that one day he would be arrested and would be under his control in prison, but the chairman did not care about his words. Later, the chairman was shocked at the company meeting that the MP sold all the shares before he died to a foundation managed by the secretary. The chairman went crazy and realized the mastermind was the hero, so he decided he had to take revenge on him. The next day, the hero asked his sister to travel so he could be reassured about her safety. Then he went to meet the dominator, who told him the board meeting was approaching and he had to help her get her son out of prison. He agreed in exchange for her giving the position of director of the VIP section to the director. We learned the director got out of the MP's case because the autopsy proved the MP died before the director arrived. We learned our hero agreed with the director to give him the position he wanted in exchange for the information the director took from the MP. The chairman learned from his lawyers that he had the right to inherit the company without any problems in only one case, if his father died. So he pressured the chief doctor to give him the position of head of the VIP section in exchange for ending his father's life. At the same time, the hero learned from the dominator that the minister was a partner with them in the management, and he had to recommend the position for the director. Our hero met him, offered him the deal, and told him to agree to the director's position in exchange for someone donating a liver to his son. The minister was forced to agree to save his son. In prison, the pharmacist discovered the prison doctor was the one who killed the MP. At that time, the chairman went to visit his father in the hospital. Before he cut off his oxygen, he was surprised. The hero was amazed by the chairman's insistence on killing his father. He told the chairman his father was the one who raised him to care only about himself and left him and his mother to care for his new life, and now he deserved death. The chief doctor entered to give the father the treatment, but the hero stopped him. At that time, the dominator arrived and asked to see the type of treatment. She confirmed to him that she found out who killed the MP, so he asked her to be careful. But then the prison doctor invited her to dinner, and she agreed. Later, the chairman learned from the chief doctor that he was going to give his father an injection that would cause a heart attack. The doctor was shocked when he noticed the injection disappeared from his pocket and knew the hero was the one who stole it from him. We went to the prison doctor, who told the pharmacist he used to have a gynecology clinic next to the chemical company. Then our hero sent the prosecutor the recording of the guardroom cameras, which contained proof that the prison doctor was the one who killed the MP. The prosecutor arrested him. At that time, the director informed the chairman of the news. We learned the director was playing both sides for his own benefit. The next day, the hero tried to defeat the chief doctor and give the position to the director. He discovered the chief doctor was sick and would undergo a stomach endoscopy. The dominator agreed with the doctor who would perform the operation to cause him internal bleeding in exchange for a higher position. At the same time, our heroine and the pharmacist searched into the prison doctor's past. They learned he owned the gynecology clinic next to the chemical company, and that because of the chemical leak, many women miscarried, including his wife. Because of this, the clinic went bankrupt, and his wife had a mental breakdown and entered a psychiatric hospital. The next day, at the board meeting, the chief doctor got sick and was transferred to the hospital. The director won the position he dreamed of. We saw a nurse disconnecting the resuscitation machines from the chairman's father. At that time, the hero went and performed surgery on the chief doctor and saved his life. Later, he learned of the chairman's father's death, so he went to the funeral. The spoiled son arrived, having received permission from from prison to attend his father's funeral. He could not handle the situation and had a seizure. Later, the spoiled son begged the hero to help him get out of prison to avenge his father against his brother who killed him. Our hero told him the only solution was to reach a state of kidney failure. He told him that if he was not treated quickly, he might die, but the spoiled son agreed to the risk. The prosecutor asked the noblewoman to meet him. She insisted he meet her at the amusement park. It appeared they liked each other. The director sent his assistant to prison and asked the hero to agree to, appointing him with him instead of the prison doctor. He agreed. Then, the director informed the chairman that his brother wanted to get out of prison with a medical excuse. The chairman asked him to let his brother die in prison. At the same time, the pharmacist visited the prison doctor to convince him to confess against the chairman and say that he was the one who asked him to kill the MP, but the prison doctor refused. In prison, the spoiled son followed all instructions from the hero to get sick and leave prison. He actually managed to reach the required condition. At that time, the chairman agreed with the director's assistant to give his brother a treatment to prevent him from leaving prison. The hero caught him and asked him to call the one who gave him the orders. He called the chairman. Our hero pretended to be the director and asked him to give him the video, in which the chairman ordered the killing of the factory workers. The chairman realized the director was a danger to him and decided to get rid of him. At that time, the prosecutor met the noblewoman at the amusement park, and they had a good time together. At that time, the hero called him and asked him to agree to the spoiled son's release from prison so they could fight the chairman. The prosecutor agreed, but later, the hero was shocked when he found the spoiled son having a heart attack. He took him to the hospital and managed to save him at the last moment. The dominator went crazy over her son and asked the hero to stop the plan, but the spoiled son insisted on continuing. At that time, we learned the chairman ordered his men to photograph the noblewoman with the prosecutor at the amusement park and sent the photos to the press. Later, the prosecutor met the hero and told him that his superiors, because of the scandal of his relationship with the accused, suspended him from work and transferred him out of the city. The hero was annoyed and went to the spoiled son, telling him they had to make a new illness plan. The hero thought of working on the genetic disease in the family of the spoiled son. Later, the hero visited the chief doctor and learned from him that the chairman was the reason behind stopping his mother's surgery. The hero asked him if the chairman knew who he was from the beginning. He told him that the chairman had Parkinson's disease and brain atrophy and that he surely would not remember. The next day, the hero met the director and offered to return him to his family's hospital in exchange for giving him the chairman's medical file, but the director could not access the file because it was password protected. He invited the chief doctor to dinner and asked him about the chairman's illness. But at that time, he was shocked when he discovered the chairman was in the room next to him. At the same moment, his wife called him and informed him that the chairman sent him a shroud. The next day, the lawyer went and gave the hero the chairman's medical reports and told him he had the same genetic disease. So the hero decided to use the brain atrophy disease to help the spoiled son get out of prison. He presented his plan to the dominator, but she feared for her son and refused. Her daughter tried to convince her, telling her that her brother was weak and could not control the company, and that they were the ones who could manage the company. The spoiled son heard them and supported his sister's words. His mother, he wanted to get out of prison to take revenge on his brother who killed their father. His mother was forced to agree. The director learned that the chairman sent his daughter a shroud too, so he decided to take revenge on him and destroy him at any cost. The next day, the hero asked the heroine what the chairman would do when he learned they were helping his brother get out of prison. She told him he was obsessed with control and would come himself to check and kill his brother. The next day, our hero confirmed via CT scan that the spoiled son had the same disease as his father and that they did not need to fake the illness. His mother collapsed when she learned her son was truly sick. Later, the hero met the director and agreed with him on a plan to deceive the chairman and destroy him. On the same day, the director went to the chairman, apologized to him, and begged him to forgive him. He informed him that they discovered his brother was sick with brain atrophy and asked him if their father had the same disease. The chairman got angry and kicked him out. He asked his assistant to verify the information because if the news spread that they had a genetic disease, it would destroy his future. The next day, the hero reassured the spoiled son and told him he did not have the disease, but he had to lie to the dominator to deceive the chairman and make him believe his brother was sick. Our hero agreed with him on the symptoms that must appear on him and gave him medicines that would make his body collapse. The director's assistant filmed the spoiled son's collapse, and they gave the videos to the chairman. When he learned his brother would be presented to the medical committee and would leave prison, he asked the director to arrange a time for his brother to be alone in the rehabilitation room. Then, the director informed the hero that the chairman took the bait and that his plan was going as they wanted. They put cameras in the rehabilitation room and informed the chairman of the time when the spoiled son would be alone. At the same time, the prosecutor went to the noblewoman and told her he confirmed she was innocent and did not kill her husband's mistress. He confessed his love to her and said he would help her get an acquittal. She rejoiced and confessed her love to him. At the appointment the director set for the chairman, they were all watching the rehabilitation room, but the hero received a call from the prison that they needed him for an emergency. The hero was forced to leave and took the recording device with him to stay in contact with the spoiled son. The chairman arrived at that time, and his men deceived the cameras, showing a looped video on them. He entered Bryce to his brother carrying the same injection he gave his father. He told his brother that when his father knew he had the same disease, he told him he would not fit to manage the company and wanted to kick him out and imprison him in a sanitarium until he died. He told him he wanted to give the company to him because he was his spoiled son. The spoiled son asked him if that was the reason he killed his father. He told him he killed him to relieve him from the illness and would kill him too so he could meet his father whom he loved. The spoiled son told him he lost and that his entire confession was recorded by the cameras. The chairman laughed and told him he disabled the cameras and gave him the injection. The spoiled son lost consciousness. At that time, the chairman saw the spy device in his ear and heard our hero telling him that this was his end. The hero called the prosecutor, telling him the chairman deceived them, entered the spoiled son's room, and gave him the injection. He asked him to save him quickly, so they ran to the rehabilitation room and took him to the ER. At that time, the hero arrived and tried to resuscitate the spoiled son's heart, but he collapsed after the heart stopped. Our heroine came and consoled him. He promised her he would take revenge on the chairman in any way, even if the price was his life. Later, he went to check on the spoiled son and learned his brain died due to cardiac arrest. The dominator collapsed and accused him of being the reason for losing her son. He apologized to her and left. She asked her daughter to help the hero until he destroyed the chairman, and after that, she would take revenge on the hero and kill him slowly, just as he did with her son. The next day, our hero met the prosecutor and the director, and they devised a new plan to get rid of the chairman. On the same day, the hero went and met the chairman, playing him the confession he made to his brother before giving him the injection. The chairman did not care about him, but the hero told him he would arrest him in another way. At that time, we saw the prosecutor with police forces storming the chairman's company. We saw that. The hero met with his team, and they planned to get rid of the chairman in two ways. One was to force him to confess and arrest him without a prosecution warrant, but they would arrest him in flagrante delicto. Our hero asked the prosecutor to help him. The second was to reveal his illness before the board of directors so they would refuse to let him manage the company. He warned that if they failed, the chairman would kill them all. We saw the chairman's men preventing the prosecutor and his men from storming the company and arresting him, but the prosecutor and his men defeated them and stormed the place. The prosecutor was surprised that his boss worked with the chairman and told him he could not arrest the chairman without a prosecution warrant. The prosecutor told him he would not leave without arresting him. At that time, the chairman learned the prosecutor insisted on arresting him. He laughed and asked the hero if this was the way he would defeat him. The hero surprised him and gave him an injection. The chairman convulsed and asked him what injection he gave him. Our hero told him he knew he could not defeat him, so he decided to kill him. He told him he had the antidote but would not give it to him. The chairman went crazy, grabbed the office knife, attacked the hero, and stabbed him in his stomach. He fell. At that time, the director arrived with the medical team. We learned the hero planned to give the chairman the injection to cause him a seizure and force him to stab him so they would catch him red-handed. The director noted that the hero determined the injury location with his hand so it would not be dangerous. At that time, the chairman woke up and the prosecutor arrested him for attempted murder. Then he thanked the director for the shroud he sent him and promised he would send him a special one to the prison. The next day, the hero woke up from his surgery and insisted on returning to prison to receive the chairman himself. At that time, the heroine informed the prison doctor that the chairman was the reason behind destroying his life, not the MP. He agreed to testify against him. In prison, the hero received the chairman and told him he was now in his kingdom, but the chairman did not care. Our heroine told the hero that the chairman's personality was strong and he was not easily defeated. She understood he would enjoy the time he spent in prison as if it were an adventure, and the only solution to break him was for his company's shares to collapse. The hero had his team spread the news of the chairman's arrest for attempted murder. His company's shares collapsed in the stock market. At that time, his team bought most of the shares. The chairman went crazy when he found out. He started telling our hero that he prepared a surprise for him that would shock him at the board meeting. 2 days later, the hero's team attended the board meeting to see if the vote would be for the dominator or the chairman. At that time, the hero was shocked when he entered with the spoiled son. He played the recording that was between the chairman and the spoiled son son before he gave him the injection, which contained the chairman's confession to killing his father. However, the chairman did not care and told him this was not evidence against him and that the recording was fake. But the hero surprised him by revealing the spoiled son was not in a coma and was healthy because the hero was ready and gave the spoiled son the injection to take before the chairman came to him. This injection reversed the effect of the injection he was sure the chairman would give him. In the meeting, the spoiled son woke up and testified that his brother was the one who gave him the injection to kill him, and that he confessed to him that he killed their father. At that time, the Dominator rejoiced when she learned her son was not sick. The chairman collapsed in front of them all, and it appeared he was sick with the same disease, genetic disease. The prosecutor arrested him, news of all his crimes spread, and the Dominator won the presidency of the group of companies. Later, we saw the prosecutor resigning from his job, working as a lawyer and defending the noblewoman's case. Our heroine took charge of the criminal psychology department in the police. In prison, the hero visited the chairman in his cell before he killed himself. He told him he would not allow him to leave via a suicide attempt. The chairman asked him if he would allow him to leave because of his illness. The hero told him he would not agree and would leave him to die slowly. The chairman laughed and told him he turned into a monster with no heart like him and that he was no better than him. Later, we saw the hero agreeing with the director to take over the hospital, with the hero becoming the hospital director and the director his deputy. At that time, he received news that the chairman committed suicide and they had to save him and move him to the ER, but the hero did not care and asked the guards to let him die. We learned the hero transformed and became a new chairman. Up to here, our series ends today. I hope you subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive everything new. Goodbye.